Joining me now, the wonderful broadcaster, Wordsmith extraordinaire Kel Richards. Kel, before we get into our words, I have to play you this from the Prime Minister. Have a listen.
Well, Mr Speaker, they are delulu with no solulu, Mr Speaker.
And he's a serious world leader, he reckons.
Oh, how can he talk in Dr Seuss babble? That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? It sounds like the sort of Dr Seuss stuff that you would read a toddler. What is a politician doing talking like that in our federal parliament, let alone the leader of the country, the Prime Minister? Dr Seuss would not put it in a book, quite frankly.
Pity the poor Hansard reporters having to just take that one down. Hey, let's go to the words. Bribe. We've discussed this budget being full of bribes for voters. So where's the word bribe come from?
It came from a Middle French word into English in the 1400s, and when it first came into English it meant food, a small bit of food, something which is handed out, often scraps or leftovers, and often given to beggars to make the beggars go away or stop them annoying you. Now, given that's the history of the word, you could argue that what we're getting out of this budget is scraps. It is leftovers. It is a tax cut that will buy us one Mars bar a day. So maybe the history of the word is coming home to roost.
Maybe it suits the times. Hey, Paul, one of our viewers, says the Prime Minister regularly uses the phrase, "We've got your back." He says, what does that mean? Where does that come from?
Comes from Black American slang, first recorded in 1977, and it comes from the context of street fighting. So if you're surrounded by a gang and someone says, "I got your back," it means I will stand back to back to you in the fight and I will ward off the attacks you can't see coming. So it's a very odd expression to use if you're talking about victims of bushfires, floods or cyclones. There must be better ways of saying it.
Rick wants to know, where does, when push comes to shove, that phrase, where's that come from?
Late 1800s, from rugby, particularly from packing down a scrub in rugby. The idea is that a shove is much tougher than a push. So in other words, when push comes to shove, when the going gets really tough. And that's how it's being used these days. You know, in the scrum of life, when it gets really tough, will so-and-so be tough enough? When push comes to shove. So from rugby, there you are.
You are fantastic. There on the bottom of the screen you can see auswords.com.au. Please send your words into Kel and we'll put them to air with a great explanation from the great man next week. Thank you, Kel. See you then.